Game developers, I have a $1 trillion idea I'd like to present to you. Lately, y'all have been putting a bunch of weird RGB lighting on guns and video games as cosmetics. But children already have RGB lighting. Far too much of it. It's in their PCs. What they don't have is Gondola. Consider Gondola as the new line of gun cosmetics. The children yearn for Gondola. They don't know that they need Gondola, but they do. It's okay, the bit's over now. We'll get that off you. Now those of you at home may be wondering, is he talking to the Mark 23 or to Gondola? The answer to both is yes. So when I made my video about EDCing a Mark 23 a few months ago, I hoped it would be a resource neatly tucked into the corners of YouTube for a small niche of people who were looking for some proof that at least one other person in the world was weird enough to do this already. Like one of those decade-old posts on a tech support forum that seems to be the only explanation on the entire internet of that one esoteric issue that you're having right now. So, whatever led so many of you to start finding it was a welcome surprise. I don't know what I was expecting in terms of views, but it was definitely not 100K in a few months. Thank you all for your very kind words in the comments as well. I wasn't planning on making other gun stuff and tried to answer any questions posed to me through the comments, but my mind was changed over time, and so here's the requested follow-up video. Firstly, since doing that video, I got my first taste of drills in a woods with a shot timer, and I thought it would be nice to have a more easily accessible setup for range days like that. But when considering open carry options, the choices basically seem to be ludicrously overpriced duty holsters that don't work with all the attachments I have, or another custom one with a different mounting solution, which got me thinking, what if IWB was OWB? So I perused my small pile of random surplus nylon for some inspiration, and I found this Molly drop leg adapter, which, based on the price of them on Venture Surplus and eBay, no one seems to want. So I got several, along with this IWB to OWB adapter from Amazon, and some straps and buckles, and I started messing with a way to adapt my IWB to this drop leg adapter. The whole idea is still in its infancy, but the more I got into it, the more I think just investing in another good custom holster is better stewardship of this thing that I've put so much into. So I'm going back to Litton Custom Holsters for one of his duty holsters, but I was pleasantly surprised that my first couple attempts worked as well as they did, so I thought I'd share for anyone interested. The idea is super simple if anyone wants to give it a go. I took a surplus grenade pouch just for the platform and the Molly interface, cut away the pouch parts, and then sewed on a strap. This then affixes to the IWB-OWB adapter, which is now mounted onto the holster, which then effectively turns the whole thing into a Molly-mounted holster. So I slapped that on the drop leg adapter, and I have an ugly, floppy, but kind of functional thigh holster now that I can theoretically move to any surface that has Molly on it. I wouldn't ruck with it, but for goofing around on a flat range, it seemed fine at the time. Oh, and for the sewing, I'd use bonded nylon thread and a thick needle to get through the rugged material. Hobby Lobby had everything I needed, along with some dots in the checkout aisle, which I had never had before, but Brassfact had that dumb gag with shilling them and talking about red dot sites. Brock, I blame you for planting the seeds of my latest addiction. These are too good to exist. Why did you tell me about them? Why did you put this into the world? Anyway, I thought this might be a useful spark for some of y'all DIYers. If nothing else, the existence and low price of the drop leg adapters just seems to have some potential for mounting. I'm sure you can take it from there. Now, the primary reason for this follow-up video is to explain to you why I stopped regularly carrying my Mark 23 with the extended magazine that I recommended in the last video after an embarrassing and unfortunate series of events that I feel compelled to tell you about. Since recording the video, I dropped my Mark 23. It was just once, at home, on a rug, and unloaded, but it hit the ground at about this angle. The extended base plate unseated and jumped forward just a bit on impact while inside the gun, and applied an internal pressure on the lip of the frame right here in a way that it was not designed for. This was enough to split the frame right here on both sides. Everything about the gun was still functional, but obviously I didn't want that crack there, especially because it would just grow over time. So I got some polymer-specific JB weld and tried to mend it myself twice. Both cases, after curing it, just opened right back up within a couple days. So after the second repair, I bit the bullet, I contacted HK's customer support, and I sent the frame into them for service. The long story short is that not even Kraut Feanor could mend such a thing once ruined, and I had to pay for a brand new replacement frame. So now I've got mismatched serial numbers between the frame and the slide, and the whole thing could have been avoided by me not dropping the gun. That said, with the flush factory mags, the rear lip protects the magazine baseplate from impacts at this angle. If I'd been using them, I wouldn't have had this headache. The second reason is that I stopped getting slide lock on the last round using the extended magazine. I'm not really sure why, since the parts that interface with the receiver, the magazine and the follower, are HK factory parts. Only the spring and the base plate, why not? Only these are third party. And yet it happens consistently and only with the extended one. Now, I wasn't typically carrying a spare magazine anyway, so in itself, I wasn't bothered by the idea of a slower reload because I have to realize that, oh, that was all 16 rounds of 45 Super. But when combined with the previously mentioned risk of impact, that's just too many reliability variables to bring into a gun that I bought for the reliability. So I've moved back to carrying the original 12-rounder in the gun with the extended magazine as my backup whenever I have space for it. Now, to be clear, this change was not made because of the concealability of the extended mag. An extra inch or so jutting off the edge of the grip does not affect me with my 5 o'clock carry preferences, but after this embarrassing and costly incident, I'd rather learn from my lesson and not carry in a way that makes it possible to happen again. Fool me once and all that. I'm not trying to scare anyone away from using the extended magazines, especially for the range or as a backup. And until the last round is fired, again, mine works just fine. But it is simply a reality of the Stendo's design that if you bang this part hard enough against something, even your hand, you might split your frame. That's a painful lesson that I learned here, and I would hate for someone else to have the same thing happen to them if this little anecdote could have prevented it, especially after I recommended the extended magazine in the first video. At the end of the day, you be the judge, and do with that what you will. Again, thank you all for your interest in this idea and the kind reception to the first video. There were several requests for something similar about my Jericho, so I'll make something like that very soon. I hope life's going well for you. May God bless you.